All right, so I think we got the full review board here. Um, Dave George is here from the town. Peter Crane is the gentleman who's going to be, he's our IT extraordinaire, kind of help us run the meeting and post documents and whatnot. I'm Chris Senecal. I'm the chairman of the HPDD review board. Have you guys, I know some of you, the applicants have, if you get, if you could just like to go down through the Zoom, maybe everybody could just introduce themselves real quickly and just say who they're with and their positions, etc.
Okay, first of all, I'm Ron Quavu. I'm the owner of Harbor Classic Homes. And second would be Laurel Adams. She's the vice president of Harbor Classic Homes. I saw Peter was on here earlier.
Yes. Hello. My name is Peter Campobasso. I represent Harbor Classic Homes. I have an office at 3 Park Street in Leominster, Mass.
And I am Kent Oldfield. I'm the engineer of the project, and I represent Harbor Classic Homes, New England Engineering.
Hi, and I'm Mike Antonellis. I'm the consulting planner for Harbor Classic Homes, here to assist Harbor with the project.
There we are.
All right.
Sorry.
Yeah, excuse me, Laura. I just like, have you guys, I don't think everybody on the HPD review board has introduced themselves. If I could just let those ladies and gentlemen introduce themselves, please. Doug, would you start with yourself?
Yeah, I'm Doug Briggs. I'm a member of the HPDD review board.
I'm Michelle Van Riet. I'm a member of the RDIC and the HPDD review board.
Jim Purrington. I'm a member of HPDD and I think vice chair.
Dick Williams, RDIC, HPDD. I could go on and on. Planning board.
Board, yeah.
And so, never mind.
No, we don't have all night, Dick.
Okay.
Dick's held out of the office and then some, twice or 3 times. But he does represent the planning board, which is a key part of this position, as well as, like he said, he's on the RDIC as well. Myself, I'm on the zoning board in town, so I represent that that portion of the town, so to speak, for the review board. So just like to open up, just to kind of give a quick introduction and somewhat expectations, what we're trying to hope to achieve here through this application process for you folks in the town. I want you guys to know we want to work as hard and as diligently as we can. The HPD review board is here. We're a subgroup of the RDIC board, and we're acting like the planning board, if you will. You won't have to go in front of the planning board. We will be technically reviewing the plans just as if the planning board would be. Okay. And we want to make this process as quick and painless as possible, but you have to understand we are here for the best interest of the town. And that's what our main charter is for. That's what we're going to be looking to do. But you folks coming to town, looking to buy a parcel and build some property here, you're a part of the fabric of the town too as well. So your concerns are certainly, we want to work with you guys and help create a good project for everyone, not just the town, but obviously not just the developer. So with that being said, I know for just this preliminary review, I'd like to just kind of give you guys somewhat, I've wrote down some things and I'll allow the other review board members to maybe voice their concerns or things they'd like to see from me. But in general, going through the process here, if you review the bylaws of the HPDD review board, it's Article 5 of the zoning bylaws. It states, what plans to submit, how many copies, etc. It states how we'll do them to the building department, the conservation commission. We're going to submit them to the fire department, the police department, DPW, building commissioner. By the way, there is a new building commissioner in town. I'm not even sure his name at the moment. The old building commissioner had a family, had some health issues with him and his family members, so he's been out. We had an interim building commissioner, and now I believe someone was appointed as a building commissioner. Is that correct, Dick? Do you know that?
Chris, if I may, his name is David McRae, and he has started working.
Terrific. Thank you, Tamika. All right. So there you go. So I'm not sure if, any of you applicants have met him or know of him, but just to let you know, he's brand new in town. But all those documents we'll distribute to those folks. We're going to get their feedback, their concerns, any questions they have, and we'll continue down this process, trying to mitigate all those, any concerns that they have. Same thing with the abutters through the public approval process. You know, we'll continue to work with you in the town and all the abutters to work through all of those issues. I can't stress enough, good quality detail in the drawings. You know, some of the things we're charged to review is the architectural exterior look of your two-family buildings that you're proposing. All full site plan review that we'll be conducting. You know, so we're looking for all the underground utilities, all the roadway stuff. I'm sure you guys have all been used to doing. But all of the traffic issues, signage, striping, stormwater, calculations, design of all your detention basins, all of that. The one thing too I want to stress is that that section in the Rutland bylaws, Article 5, is just for the HPD review, but it also references in that section that you have to still meet the other requirements in the planning board or the zoning, other zoning bylaws. So any of those things that would be pertinent to your particular project as an over 55, we actually have an over 55 section in our town bylaws. Those are the guidelines you should be basing this project upon when you're submitting your drawings and doing your engineering, etc. So those, because that's what we're going to be working off of to basically review this project. And again, all as much detail as you can, as much of the information you can provide. The town does reserve the right to bring in a third-party engineer for a peer review. If we choose to do that, that fee would be paid by you, the applicant, but we would certainly try to work through making sure that that person was amenable to you. We'll agree on that engineer to be, in other words. The town does have the last final say of that, but we always work, and we've never not had a problem finding an engineer that we both would agree upon would treat both parties fairly. Again, landscaping, any photometrics on site lighting, make sure you have all your setbacks shown, mentioned, and that's pretty much the general overview of what we're looking to do, what we'll be looking for in these drawings going forward. So with that, I'll try to stop talking here, and I'll just pass it on down the line. Michelle, if you have anything you'd like to add to that, and Dick and Doug and the rest of and Jim, please add on if you have any other comments.
I'm all set. Thank you.
This is Dick Williams. You're going to have your hands full, in my opinion, and I don't want to upset anybody, but it's always been gnawing at me. But what you got to dig up is going to be very, very crucial, and I hope that things go well for you up there. So I'll just leave it like that. There's a lot of buildings up there. So we'll see how that goes.
You got anything?
Am I next?
Yeah, Doug, you.
Okay, all right. Again, thank you for showing interest in the town of Rutland. And again, just for your edification, I live directly across the street from the Rutland Heights. And I've seen it going through different stages, and I hope that we can get something moving and do something good up there. One of the questions I have is, I don't know if these are the up-to-date documents that we have, but just looking at the map quickly on the layout of the houses on the lots, and I see that in the bottom facing east where the 11 units are, I see that you're stretching over the side of the driveway into parcel B to put in parking lot. Wait a minute, is that right?
I don't think, sorry.
On the access road, Doug, you're talking about, I think I think on the other side of the access road was originally going to be a community center for the elderly, I believe,
Which is not
Right.
happening.
which is not happening. And
Right.
and on this conceptual plan, they do show a basin. At this point right now, I would assume that's some type of detention basin.
Okay.
But again,
Yes,
this is not a formal civil site drawing right
Right, and what I have, and I just printed it off, was the fact that the basin was actually located just about where the Z is in zone, on parcel C or A. And then where the basin is, it has like a parking lot. But I guess my question is that if we're buying A and C, I think I want to pretty much leave zone B alone. And I don't want it to be scrunched in or whatever by putting a basin right there along the street. And again, I'm just giving you my remarks. And again, looking at the whole parcel, I'm less excited about using zone C for the housing. I think that that is what my envision was, to use that as prime land to help put in either businesses or whatever that would help the senior housing, and use the top of the hill for whatever it is that we needed to do. But again, I think it's a great opportunity for us to do something in town. And if I move there, I only got to walk across the street. Now, the other question I had is just, and again, I didn't see it, but in a lot of these things, they have like, a couple of affordable housing type units. Are they going to have any of those or not?
Peter?
I don't believe that is part of the proposal, no.
Okay, because that was one question I had too, Peter, because the actual square footage requirements, just so you guys know, they actually do change if you did have affordable housing. It's 18,000 square feet for the first unit, and then 6,000 thereafter with water and sewer, town water and sewer. Whereas on an affordable housing, it would be 5,000 square feet for each additional unit. So just so you do know, you can tighten them up on affordable housing by
from a density standpoint. Is that what you're
Correct.
referring to, Chris?
Correct,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the only edit I'll give to that is, a lot of the people that I'm looking to be moving into these are the people that are going to be living, like currently live on like Highland Park, which is across the street, which are in Capes, that are older people that have homes that are probably in the 250,000 type range. And for and them selling their homes, it wouldn't be a natural progression to then take up a $300,000 mortgage, moving out of a home for 200. So again, I was just thinking if there was something we could do, or you could do with somewhat affordable housing type thing, it would certainly, I think it might help a little bit. But
It's definitely something we can keep in the back of our minds and see if it's a possibility.
And the other,
Excuse me, but I don't think it really would affect your proposal right now, which way you go. So
Yep.
if you submit your plans, though, obviously we would need to know which way you plan to move forward, just on that density factor, Peter, okay?
Okay.
For the sizing of those units, but regardless right now. And we're also gonna have to really fine tune the actual lot lines of these two parcels.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up.
Because that's gonna really help us as a board really determine if you're meeting that criteria, obviously, for the so many square feet per unit.
So if I could, I don't mean to interrupt, but
Please do.
I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things that I think I would like to get some guidance or some direction on is, obviously we have to create a plan that's going to develop some lot lines. The road that is shown on this drawing, that's not an actual roadway in the town of Rutland. Is it just an extension of the school up there past zone A, or is that a laid out public way?
that is a laid out public way.
It's like a public way.
Okay.
Well, and let me just make this to the lot line up there. That little extension, guys, that the DPW did, I'm not sure if that's an official town, is it?
It is
Is
not.
That is not a town road. That
No.
is a driveway.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
But the section that's shown on this drawing right now is a legitimate town road.
Yes, it is.
Okay,
At the top of where the road stops on your zone A, just before, you know how you have your left, yes, exactly, right up there. Thank you, Peter.
Yeah.
That is extended over into the school, if you're familiar,
Yep.
So that section is the driveway that they just referred to, but what you're seeing on this drawing right now is a town road.
okay.
Although-
But
Peter,
that,
Peter, this is Mike Sullivan. I'm confused. I thought you were asking about the loop road down on the southwest part of the property. So,
On the pond?
can you drag your cursor way down to the bottom of the drawing where the writing is that I can't read? That dark line, no, down where you were, go right down where you were, right there, that dark line, is that what you were talking about, Peter?
me, no.
Okay, because that to me is the lot line that needs to be delineated. You know, the rest of it, and I'm sorry, Chris, to jump in here, but the rest of it is, you know, you've got the perimeter fences, you've got the street, the main Maple Avenue, and then you have the roadway, which is called Rutland Heights Way, I think. Those are accepted public roadways, and the perimeter of the property was surveyed by the state. So those bounds are in place, but the one that I'm concerned about is the loop road. Peter, can you, is your pointer still down there? Yeah, if you go along that dark line, okay, just trace that all the way up now. No, go the other way. No, come back where you were. Now, there you go. So that line right there is let's call it the line of demarcation right now between Harbor Classic and the solar folks right now. That's just a kind of a line drawn in the sand that really doesn't exist. It's the part of the old roadway of the hospital site.
Okay. So my question was leading more to, from a plan perspective, whereby the purchase and sale agreement that Sharon Everett and I are working on is contemplating Harbor Classic Home buying 2 parcels. I don't believe there's any A&R plan or subdivision plan that shows those parcels, and my understanding is we're going to prepare that as a part of this process. And I just wasn't sure if we could utilize the existing roadway that's on there now. But that's something we probably should get a better sense of. I hope we can get a better sense to make sure that we're preparing the plans correctly.
But Chris, to that point, I believe that the main roadway coming in off of Maple Avenue, that is an accepted town road that's been surveyed and plotted and everything else. So I believe that's a boundary they can use. The fence line along Maple Avenue is a surveyed boundary, and then the boundary between the school and the hospital property is a surveyed boundary. So that the only open boundary, if you will, is this area that I was referring to earlier.
Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman?
and to carry that just a little bit further, right here in simple terms, this is just one lot. This is just one parcel. We have not subdivided the parcel. So what you guys call zone A and C and the zone B, those have not been delineated with lot lines. This is still a 50, 60, 70 acre parcel of land with a pond in the middle of it.
Right.
With the exception of the roadway that goes through. So
Correct.
it is separated by the roadway from zone A to zone B and A.
Correct. Yeah. Zone C is kind of on an island because of the roadway and the 2 perimeter lot lines, the street and the other properties behind the zone C. Correct.
That's correct. Yep.
Things, but yeah. So right now, as far as we're concerned, any interior lot lines that we need to establish to meet certain guidelines are pretty, if you, honestly, my question was, have you and the RDIC already defined those? And if not, then we can work with you to do that.
No, we haven't, and that's a part of the understanding that we have to do. So that's why I'm glad it came up.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, excuse me.
Yes.
Ron San Angelo, our town administrator, is raising his hand.
Mr. Chairman,
Go right ahead.
just a comment, and this is kind of getting to the point that Mike was trying to raise. Is one of the things I had asked Mike to do is to set up a meeting with Harbor Homes and Sol, who's the solar provider, that there's an agreement on for that back part of parcel A. And with Peter, because we have to have a survey done of that property to make a clear distinction of what properties in each part A and in the solar fields, because we already do in fact have a lease with a solar company for that part of the land. So Peter, I think it would make sense for, you and Solar Systems to get together and with us and to know that part of that survey, we've got to really clarify that distinction.
Okay, because I think to Chris, the chairman's point, there's no clear delineation right now of the parcels per se, and clearly Zone C, we refer to the zones because that's what the master reuse plan called them, to target what they wanted in different areas. But those zones have never been delineated on any type of a A&R plan or subdivision plan. So if you look at the registry of deeds, you do find a recorded plan, but it shows the 87 acre parcel of land as one parcel. Yes, and whether we can pull that plan off as an A&R or as a subdivision will depend on the rules, the subdivision rules, and hopefully we have enough frontage and stuff of that nature so that we could probably do an A&R plan, which would be easier, obviously.
Be clear as well that the RFP that was put out for the public really just described the land as parcels A and C, while it defined sort of the outer lines of the property. It never defined the interior of the property. So all of it's got to be surveyed and cleared up as part of the planning process here. That's why I want to do that meeting as early as possible. But and somebody had mentioned earlier, and I didn't catch who it was, A and C were clearly, the RFP that the town received clearly defined the area where the housing is going to be as parcel A and C in the RFP process for housing. And that was the proposal that was approved by the RDIC.
And the roadway, Peter, just so you know, is it is recorded under the booking page as Rutland Heights Way. That goes from Maple Ave all the way to the school.
Okay.
And that little area of that they said the DPW that swings off, that's actually part of Rutland Heights Way.
Okay.
Right there, yeah. That's all Rutland Heights Way.
Okay.
Little stub.
Yep.
Okay, so and again, to Ron's point, there isn't a tentative agreement with the solar company for the part of land up behind there. I know I'm an electrical contractor, and I know when you guys we really have to coordinate with the solar company, because any change in their layouts significantly to the quantity of panels and tables that affect their overall design and total KW could have major impact on them having to restart the process with National Grid all over again. And if anybody knows, it's a multi-year, sometimes long process. And I would, and I think the town has to be sensitive to that fact in dealing with the, this line of demarcation, Peter, as we talked about along that fence line, that road that Mike was discussing. Mr.
Chairman, one other point to that I'd like to bring out. In reading the lease agreement with the solar company, it also it says that they're going to be allowed to use land to stage equipment and stuff. And so, we're going to have to work with Peter to make sure that the construction of both of these things, the solar field and the 55 housing, that all of that can be taken into consideration, because there may be timing issues as to where you could stage equipment and what you could do during that construction of those facilities. So Pete, we'll be talking to you about those as the project moves along as well.
Okay.
Ron, to that fact of staging, we did have one preliminary meeting with the solar company for the HPDD review. And we did discuss that their staging would be down at the bottom of this plan, kind of at the bottom where some of the main power systems would tie in. If you see that little stub where Peter's cursor is, that road right there coming down that little dirt path along the side of the pond. Yes, thank you, Peter. And then right down in that area is where the main solar and their staging area, and they would build the system down into that lower point. So that was just discussed. I'm not saying that's the end all be all, Ron, but that was something that we did talk about.
No, that's good, and I wasn't aware of that, so I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no, I figured you weren't, and just so everybody's on page with that. So, you know, even through the RFP process, I know I was on the RDIC board years back, and I know in being in touch with what was going on here, there was really no parcels, Peter, designed because we wanted people like yourself to come here with an idea. And, you know, how much land did you need? What did you want to do? So we kind of left it an open slate, a blank canvas for you to kind of do what you thought, you know, you needed to do. So we're certainly open to, you know, lot lines being where they need to be. Okay.
Okay, great, thank you.
Project happen. So, okay. So Doug, going back to this was your question, Doug. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, the other question I had is when I read in there, it talks about what the proposal will be, and then the things that are taken off of the proposal in terms of the cash. And it talked about water, sewer, those type of things. And I'm just trying to get an understanding that my thought was that we would make sure that we had sewer and water in the Rutland Heights Way, all right? But that anything that came off of that into the private property of the Harbor Homes would be at their cost.
Yeah, Doug, Chris, if I may, Mike Sullivan here. Doug, what I sent you folks was the first draft, the first proposal that was sent. After that, there were negotiations that generated a second and then a third and final. And so some and most of the issues you're talking about are now have now been addressed.
Okay. I'm good then.
Okay. Thank you, Doug. Dick, do you have any questions or anything you'd like to add for expectations? Dick Williams?
Past this bedtime, Chris.
I was going to say they probably went back to the home.
There you go.
Sorry, I was muted. Dick actually called me and he's been listening in on my phone. So Dick, I think you can speak and everybody will hear you.
From what I can hear so far, I've got no questions at the present time. I'm glad Chris brought up about the solar and where it's going to be located. And at the moment, along the upper near the school is the excuse me, is where the solar people are going to be coming in. My God. Okay, I'm done.
Did you hear what Dick was saying? Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks, Dick. Jim, do you have anything that you'd like to add, Jim?
No.
Okay. And Ron or Dave, if you guys have anything else you'd like to ask of the applicant or any expectations you'd like to see?
The only comment I would make, Mr. Chairman, is that the applicants have proposed a specific project that was, you know, agreed upon with RDC as part of the RFP process. So just to be clear, while we might love to have them do something else, you know, put in affordable housing or do some other things, that, you know, we are obligated to follow the request for proposal process that we agreed to and was voted out at RDIC. So, you know, and again, I don't know, you can't say, oh, we don't want you to build here or do this. You can only do it for planning requirements. You can't change the substance of their proposal, just to be clear.
And I would agree with that. I know Doug's comment talked about not wanting those 11 units down by the 56 Maple Ave, but I think that's a topic for a different discussion or at a different meeting, you know, with the RDIC meeting. As far as us guys, we're the HPDD review board, and we are just here to review the proposal that's in front of us. so as far as, you know, those 11 units, they're on the table right now, and we're not really going to discuss taking them off. You know, whatever. And then, you know, the look and size and shape of the road, et cetera. So I agree with that, Ron. At this time, we're just here to review the present proposal.
All right, if I would just jump in real quick, we're glad that the applicant has decided to submit the RFP and continue on this process. We're here to work with the applicant and to help move this project along on the timeliest basis possible. Obviously, assuring that it has all the required plans and other submission documents.
All right, great. Thanks,
Hey,
Dave.
Hey, Chris, this is Mike. Can I just say one thing? You know, I know that Harbor Homes is spelled out 88 units, and you know that's what we accepted. I have to tell you that if you come back to us and said, hey, you know, we can put 92 units in there instead of 88, please do, because I think we would entertain that. I just don't want you to, you know, think we're that casting stone on that number.
Okay, and please, thanks, Mike. And that brings up just a general point. I don't, you know, these preliminary meetings, I don't want to be too specific about certain details because it's so early in the game, but thanks for referencing. If there are any, you know, if you, Dave, Ron, you know, Mitch, any of you guys know of any, you know, this is a fluid situation. So if there's any leniencies or things that can move with this, us having that information is great information to have, because through this process, working with the applicant and the town, and we want to, you might give and take here and there. So even though, you know, again, and this is just an example, if the 11 didn't fit down low, you can only get 10. Well, maybe you can get the extra 2 or 4 up on the other zone A. So whatever we got to do, you know, to work with people. Again, even the lot lines, like we talked about, those are not even set in stone. That's a fluid thing. So, you know, we're just going to have to keep our eyes open and our minds open, and yet just follow the guidelines that we have in front of us.
And Chris, can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
You know, and maybe this will go to all with Harbor Homes, but probably more to Peter than anybody. You know, we wrote this zoning many years ago. You know, I don't even know how long ago, 10, 12 years or whatever it was. And you know, it seemed to make sense back then, and we have never, you know, this is the first opportunity to use it. So I'm sure there's going to be some bumps in the road, and you know, why did you put this in there, and can you change that or whatever? And you know, we can't change zoning, you know that. Well, we can change zoning, but not very easily. All I'm saying is, you know, if we stumble, let's stumble together, work together, figure out how to resolve it, and you know, our objective, as Chris said, is to get this thing done.
I couldn't agree more.
Great.
Correct. So at that time, I'd just like to open this up to the applicant. If you have anything else, ladies and gentlemen, that you'd like to talk and discuss and tell us about the project, please, by all means. The floor is yours.
Peter?
I think, you know, based on all the communications and the discussions we've had to date, I've noticed that a lot of the proposal was already posted on the town's website. So we are going to try to be, you know, as consistent with what we've been discussing, understanding that we do have a process we have to follow. I can tell you that, you know, Ron and Laurel are very excited about the project, that they are they look very forward to working with the town. And we're going to keep the communication lines open so that as we go, because this will be fluid until we get some type of a preliminary concept. You know, we hope that we can keep certain members involved. We can submit stuff to the chair, and maybe if something needed to be circulated, it could be circulated that way, so that we could establish some type of a workable line of communication, so that we don't inadvertently exclude anyone from development or anything of that nature. But as we go along, if we think there's ways we can improve the proposal, we'll definitely inquire. and vice versa. As we go along, if you think that there's something that would be helpful to enhance the project, we're willing to listen.
Terrific.
I would just add, this is Mike Antonellis, by the way, through the chair. I would just add that the conversation up till now it's been very helpful. I know it's answered a lot of my questions without me even saying very much, which has been great. But it's also answered a lot of Peter's questions too. We obviously talked before joining the meeting tonight, so it's been really helpful. So it indicates to me that both the town, the HPDD, as well as Harbor Classic Homes are on the same page going forward, and that's encouraging. So thank you very much.
Yeah, Mike, that's all we want to do. We want to work with you. We want to make this go, as efficient as possible. I think efficient is really the number one word. When you guys present your plans and as we're trying to give you some guidance tonight, we're just trying to put it all on the table, be upfront with everybody, let the expectations, on both sides of the table, get them out there, and let's just start going to work, and knock things down, mitigate any issues that we have to, work through some other things, and hopefully this can be a tremendous project for everybody involved.
Absolutely.
Very good. Anybody else? Is that pretty much it, guys?
Mr. Chair, this is Peter Crane. I have a fast question, if I may.
Please do, Peter.
I'm just wondering what set of zoning bylaws will apply to this? And by that, I mean, are they going for a subdivision? Are they going for just senior housing? I'm just trying to understand what the regulatory framework will be.
Sure. No, that's a great question. So I'll try to simplify this as best as I can. And if Mike or Dave or anybody else in town has any other, if you think I'm off base, let me know. Again, like Mike said, this is kind of the the first go around here. But the HPDD review board reviews this just like it's just a typical site plan approval process that a planning board would do or a zoning board would do. It's that same process. So we're going to be that granting authority of, let's say, if there's an order of conditions that needs to be put in place at the end of this process. We cannot make a variance. We cannot grant a variance. Okay, if there is a variance that's going to be required, you would have to go, to the zoning board for that. You're not superseding the Conservation Commission here. You still gotta, keep those guys, in check, and you gotta meet all their requirements. But in general, when you look at the bylaws, Peter, to answer your question, we have our subsection that applies. Within our subsection, it says, if it's not stated in the HPDD bylaw, then you revert to the zoning or the planning boards. And for instance, there is an over 55 section in our zoning bylaws. So allow me just to grab this right here. So the HPDD section is Article 5 of the Town of Rutland zoning bylaw. If you have our zoning book, there's a whole bunch of different articles. There's also a section for the senior housing. This is section 48 of this that has a senior housing section. Peter, in that section, it's on page 71. It'll list all the lot sizes. So, for instance, in the HPD in this Rutland Heights project, you have a 50-foot front setback, 30-foot setbacks on side and back. Now, in the town bylaw, there may be different, shorter or more, but you're going to go by the HPDD setbacks. You're not going to go by the town, the regular bylaw setbacks that would, exist for a single-family home or for a subdivision otherwise. Okay, so that's just one example where the section Article 5, these HPDD bylaws would supersede an existing bylaw that's in town. Okay, but now if there's if there's something else that's stated or you want to go by that the HPDD section does not state or give you a limitation or anything like that, then you would revert back to the regular bylaws and planning guidelines. Okay, and which within our bylaws there is an over 55 section that gives you a lot more. Again, in that section, it's just kind of like the HPDD section. It gives you some more. There's sections in there where you can be a little tighter. So those certain size lots, it changes.
No,
Okay.
honestly, I wasn't thinking about it in terms of lot sizes. I was thinking more just in terms of road construction, and issues like that. That's what came to mind, just looking at the roadways that are being created here.
Sure. Yeah, I can tell you in the HPDD section, that Article 5, Peter, there is nothing regarding roadways other than you just have to meet the town guidelines.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I was gonna say,
I'm
Ron
sorry.
has his hand
Hold
up
on a
now.
second. Peter, you all set?
Yeah, I'm all set, thank you.
Okay, yep, go ahead, Ron.
So, Mr. Chairman, one of the things that I had talked with Dave about, David George, was that, he's going to be your technical expert for this project. I don't think anyone's expecting that your members know everything about planning and zoning and all those technical issues. That any members that have questions should reach through Dave, and Dave can reach out to conservation members. You guys are designed sort of as the one-stop shopping for all of this to make the project move faster. But again, I think David is a resource here that can make sure that we still in fact follow the planning process and the zoning process and all of that. So that, I think that in this whole project, in this whole development, I think David's going to be the guy that helps guide you through all of those obstacles.
Correct. And per these HPDD bylaws, when the applicant submits conceptual plans and the final site application plans, this board distributes all these documents. We're responsible to distribute all the documents to the planning board, Board of Health, Conservation Commission, DPW, police, fire department, building officials. We are that. Just to your point, Ron, we are that. And we're going to get feedback from all these other boards, zoning, et cetera. And, this board has members on those boards for that reason, so that, we can try to keep this process moving quickly. I'm not sure there's many other processes like this in the state of Massachusetts where they have a signatory review board just for a certain parcel within the town. It's somewhat different, but it's really not much different than like having a building committee for a new school in town or something of that nature, but yes, Ron, to answer your question, we will distribute all that. It's right in the guidelines. That's our responsibility, and we will fulfill that.
Excuse me, Chris.
Yes, Michelle, go right ahead.
I think Dick had something to add, and then I would like to add something as well. Go ahead, Dick.
I just hope that we can have a site visit sometime very soon, that we all can look around and discuss in person up at the heights. Never mind looking at the Zoom thing. Amen.
I agree. I can't argue with that, Dick. And I think before we get to that walk point, I think we should have a quality conceptual plan from the applicant. Again, we discussed the lot lines, just to have something with a little bit the next level of detail, so that when we do walk the site, we'll have a plan that really has some dimensions and some showing some utilities and things of that nature that we can really get a good look and review and walk. And because I do agree, Dick, when you walk the site, sometimes the plans don't show you everything, and that would be helpful. I can't argue with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Go ahead, Michelle.
And I have another just a comment, and I don't know if this would be like Chris or Mike or even a Tamika thing, but I do recall back at the very beginning of this process that our fire chief Seth Knight had asked to be kind of involved when we did get something rolling, and how it would impact with the fire and ambulance. So I don't know if we would just like let him know informally or formally when we're meeting. So it's just a process question.
Sure, no, that's great. So the next step is for the applicant to provide a conceptual plan. It's really a two, there's a conceptual plan and then a final plan submission, if you will. And that doesn't mean there's not going to be some changes within each process. If you actually read in the bylaws, we can continue to have meetings with revisions to the conceptual plan.
Right.
On the final site plan, or we can just say, hey, just clean these things up, put them on the final site plan and submit that. So as we work through the process, we will do that. But once that first conceptual plan does come in, like I said, we're going to distribute this to everybody, and we're going to invite all these departments to that HPDD review meeting. So if a particular board or department wants to just write a letter of their concerns and send it to us, we can manage it that way. Or if they want to show up in person and roll up the sleeves and get their elbows into it, they're more than welcome, but they will be invited as well, Michelle, to answer your question. So
Okay, thank you.
down and dig in, you can, okay? And that goes for everybody in town, you know, all public and in all the departments. We're gonna really keep this on the open because, you know, this being the first one coming through town, you know, I just want to keep it all in the open, want to keep everybody involved, but also, you know, it's great to keep everyone involved, but we got to keep things focused and on point and moving, you know, in an efficient, we just want to keep working on items and keep knocking things down. So that's going to be the name of the game. But yes, we'll make sure everybody's gets a crack at the table here. Anything else?
Do we have any idea on the timeline for that conceptual plan?
Stole my question, Peter.
And I didn't raise my hand, I apologize.
That's quite all right. This is informed. And please, you don't have to call me chairman, okay? My name's Chris. You don't have to get too crazy. Go ahead. Yeah, that's a great question. Go ahead.
I think Kent can probably speak to that better than I, but I know that he has been working on that, and we are in the process of, you know, getting the field information that's necessary in order to put some type of a conceptual plan together. And
Yes.
I know that he has made contact with the solar people to sort of get some of their information as well. So he can probably give you a better update than I can.
Yes, thank you, Peter. We have been in contact with the solar people, and we've exchanged, their surveyor and ours have exchanged information and exchanged the lot lines where they wanted to have. Not to say, like you said, that the change, you know, lot lines might change here and there, and it'll be a negotiating back and forth. But we have been doing a survey, a property line survey, as well as the wetlands that were already flagged once, but we're also doing our due diligence for the flagging for the conservation as well. So as far as to answer your question, I guess for the conceptual, I would say right after Christmas. I would say.
Okay. All right.
If that's quick enough, we can probably speed it up if we have to.
No, I'm just wondering when I should tee my committees up for this, that's all.
Okay. Yep. No, I would say probably right after Christmas, barring no more snow, we'll be fine.
Tamika, add this for the next Concom, please. I just bring it up there. Thank you.
You got it.
That'd be great.
Everybody, I have to jump on to another meeting, so I have to sign off now. But I just wanted to thank everybody. You know, can obviously continue to have a conversation, but thanks for having us, and thanks. Just thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
All right, take care. I think I have a bad internet connection too. I apologize if I'm going in and out, but all right, take care.
Take care, Mike.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay, I guess just one question for all the applicants. Did we give you, you know, enough information and guidance, direction, if you will, on, you know, which way for you guys to go next? And if you have any other questions or anything.
No, Chris, for myself, I think this has been very helpful. It's kind of what I anticipated. I appreciate you know, all the feedback and in the guidance. Basically, it's good for us before we get started, so that we don't have to either undo or redo or backtrack or what have you. This has been very helpful. So thank you very much.
Great, good. I'm glad. That's the way we want the process to go. Be upfront with each other and have our expectations right out front, and then everything should fall together. Right? That's how you build something.
Yep.
Chairman, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't make at least one comment thanking the RDIC board for the work they did to get us to this point. I know Mike Sullivan and David George were extremely active along with our attorneys. So just want to put in my appreciation for the work they've done on behalf of the town and on behalf of your board as well. They did a great job. Particularly Mike has invested a ton of time in this. I just wanted you to know that it's very appreciated.
Come on, you're making me blush, Ron.
Yeah, I gotta talk to you every day. I gotta do something positive, you know.
Well, since you're giving praise, the one person we didn't introduce is Tamika, and Tamika is our kind of administrative secretary. She's our guardian angel, folks. So when you hear her voice, we listen very closly because she understands what needs to be done, the procedures, formalities, and everything. So when you hear Tamika speak, perk your ears up.
Mike, you're too kind. Thank you. Hi.
It all happens. Tamika makes it all happen. Trust me.
You bet. You betcha.
Everything I send out that's wrong, she fixes before it gets to you guys. Make sure it goes right. So without her, let me tell you, we're in big trouble.
Well, I appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
Somebody's got to make us look good, right?
So, Chris, I guess I'd just ask you and the applicants, is there anything anybody needs from us, us being the town, whether it's the RDIC or the HPDD Review Board, or is the ball now, 100% in Harbor's court, and this, this loose Christmas date is kind of the next milestone? Well, I guess Peter, I'd think you and Sharon working on your agreement is also in parallel.
I am working with Sharon. We're hopeful we can have that agreement done shortly. And the only question I would have is there a preference on who you would like the contact person for the town to be? If we do have a question and we need to run something by somebody, would you want us to contact Chairman Chris, or would you want us to contact, who would you want the point of contact person to be?
I think
Well, it kind of depends on what kind of question.
George.
If it's a technical question, Dave George is our point man. But if it's just an overall general question, then I think it should come to me.
I assumed that it would be Dave. I just didn't want to go in that direction without asking.
Chris, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I really think that Dave does tremendous work in the town, Peter, and he knows which way to direct any question that you may have, which department, which person, etc. If it's a legal issue, there's no reason for me or Mike, to know about it really. I guess maybe Mike a little bit, but if it's a technical question, he'll get it to me. So I really think Dave, and then if we go through Dave, there's a great record keeping. It's transparent. It's all
correct.
Dave knows how to do that properly for the best interest of the town and you yourself as the applicant. So my opinion, I think he's the best guy to go through. I hope Dave agrees.
Okay.
I was just going to say, Dave, your shoulders are slouching a little bit.
You better speak up or you voted in.
We did have that discussion. Even on the legal stuff, Peter, I would bring the question to David, and David would bring the question to me, and I'll authorize using an attorney and making sure we get Serena or another person from the law firm to
Okay.
So use David. He works right across the hall for me, so anything that needs to get to me, David can bring it right across.
Okay, very good.
I saw David's thumbs up, so he's good.
Yeah. I would assume, as we talked about previously, that depending on the type of question, I would be working with Mike Antonellis and the rest of the Harbor crew to facilitate answers to the questions. And if we needed this additional assistance to request it, as Ron outlined, pretty much as we've done up to this point. So I appreciate that, and we'll do our best to keep this project on track.
Okay.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. All right. So with that being said, maybe Peter, if you could maybe just get a message to us, maybe before the holiday, about when you think you might be ready to submit those plans, and then maybe we're going to need a couple weeks to get the meeting scheduled. So in the essence of time and efficiency, please don't delay to reach out to us when you think you'd be ready for that meeting, and then that'll give me a good window to set up the rest of the board and with the town to get this meeting scheduled, and we can get moving.
Okay, will do.
And can I just again ask this imaginary road line that we now have, that I guess we've kind of agreed that it makes sense for us to get together with the solar folks and figure that out. How are we going to do that?
Well, I think I can follow up with Kent and
Okay.
get a better idea as to where he is at with the planning with the solar company.
Okay.
And I'm almost looking at this as sort of a two-step process, because obviously I think we need to have the agreed upon lot lines established so that we can then put a conceptual together where we know we're gonna be complying with, zoning requirements, sideline setback and all that stuff. So hopefully we can get that boundary line plan together quickly and get some agreement on that so that we can follow through with the conceptual plan.
Mike, it sounds like
That's
we're ahead
exactly
of
why
our
I asked the question.
conversation, so that's a good thing. Because me and Mike were talking about getting you two together. It sounds like you've already started that process. So if you need our help in coordinating any of those meetings, we'd be happy to. But it looks like you're already down that path ahead of us. And at the time you do this survey, it sounds like the two companies are going to work together to make sure that survey gives you guys results that makes both projects workable, I guess is what we're looking for there,
Yeah.
This, again, this Kent Oldfield, they were very helpful, and they said get back to them and we'll get through it.
See, just so we're clear, the solar property is being leased. So that lot line is really a town of Rutland lot line, but we do have an agreement with the solar company now. So we have an obligation and we want to be fair to them as well. So it is kind of a three-way street here right now.
I can just add one quick thing. I think it's tremendous, Kent, that you've already, reached out to those folks and are trying to work this issue out, because if you two guys can work that line out of demarcation, then I think your other lot lines, then you can work with us and we can manipulate those to make this thing move forward. And I would just reference maybe, just keep Dave George in the loop. You guys do have those discussions, maybe copy him on a few key things once you kind of come to some conclusions, just so that he's in the loop and whatnot. But honestly, we don't want to get in the middle if we don't have to be, but just know that we're here for you. And we'll do whatever we can to help move things along.
I appreciate it. Mr. Chair, I have one question. You mentioned that somebody was going to schedule this to discuss at the Conservation Commission for, just to bring it up. Is that something that we can see on their Zoom meeting, or just maybe get some preliminary conversations with them? I know every Conservation Commission has their own likes and dislikes, so.
Yeah, so that was Peter Crane, the gentleman that runs this Zoom meeting. He's also on the Conservation Commission. So Peter, if you're there, if you could maybe answer Kent's question.
Yeah, that's fine. You're absolutely welcome to join me. It will be it's this Tuesday, isn't it, Tamika? Am I right about?
Yep, this Tuesday at 6.
So We'll start it at 6. We'll put it on the agenda just because we want to make sure. I just want to make sure to introduce the project to the commission, so we have some idea. So everybody has some idea what's going to happen, and we'll be teed up and ready to talk more about your future proposals as they come in, or your.
Well, yeah, some of the things, like they talked about the basin and some of the other things that some commissions like to see and don't like to see. It's something that I'd like to probably like to get before we start diving into the full design.
And that's fine. We will certainly be interested in that because that's part of our jurisdictional issues that we have to deal with. So
excellent. Thank you.
So just so you know, if you go onto the town's website, go on the calendar and just pick Tuesday, you just click on the Zoom invitation, it'll take you right into the meeting.
Perfect. Thank you.
Does he have to be on that agenda to discuss that, or because you can just like new businesses?
I think you just said for Tamika to add it a little while ago.
Okay.
Yep, I'm going to add it.
Discussion. Yeah.
There she is. Tamika's saving the day again. Here we go.
I try.
If I know Tamika, it's already on the agenda.
Yeah.
You don't know me at all, Mike.
Mr. Chairman, a comment to you to Peter, if I could.
Go ahead.
So Peter, one of the things that I think is important, and I know you guys do it, I just don't know what the timing of it will be, is one of the things that eventually after you either have a conceptual plan or something, there's just some kind of public hearing that kind of sells the public on what you're doing there. So if you would just let me know when your thought is as to the timing of when that might be beneficial, so the public knows how this project is going to benefit the citizens of the town. I think, once you have something nice to show them, nice pretty pictures and stuff, I think I'd be happy to work with you to see that we can attract people to that presentation so that the town gets a firsthand look at it through, I think it's going to be through Zoom, but at least we can kind of market it out there for people to look at that Zoom meeting to hear how your project is and what it's about.
Okay. Absolutely.
And again, Ron, to that point, the public will be, invited. It's open. These are public hearings. So
right.
Any planning board or zoning board hearing, anybody in town can jump on these Zooms or however we have them in the future and open to that. But that's a good point. If you want to have a special kind of marketing thing or something, or just let people know, it can't hurt, you know. Help get the word out too about your project, so might help you guys marketing wise. Anything else? Anybody else have anything else to ask, request? Any other issues? All right then. So we want to make a motion to close this part of this meeting, and then
You know what, Chris, one thing before you do that.
Sure, go ahead.
Does it make sense, perhaps, for you folks to schedule, I don't know what, but tentative meetings, bi-weekly meetings every Wednesday night? And that way everybody kind of knows that, all right, 2 weeks from now or a week from now, we got a meeting coming up. And, you know, they can get together with you and be aware of what the things are. And if, you know, 2 weeks from now you don't have anything, well, you just cancel the meeting.
I don't really want to start setting up meetings just in case, but I will take your advice as far as, let me ask the members of the HPDD review board, is there a particular day of a night of the week that works best for you? Are these Wednesday nights good in general? Is there any other night that works better? Just so that we could, you know, in the month of January, expect to have some meeting on some in January. Is that possible?
With no games, with no nothing, this is kind of like the highlight of my week.
I'm all set, but I think Dick is going to be the thorn in our side. Dick, what about you and meeting nights?
Wednesday night, it's not too bad. Thursday night, at the end of the month, is bad. Other than that, I can't do it Monday and Tuesdays.
So Wednesdays are better for you, Dick?
Mr. Chair, if I may stick my nose in here for a second, I know too much about town meetings right now.
Go ahead, Peter.
Every other Monday is a select board meeting. Every Tuesday, there's either planning or concom. Every Thursday, starting in January, will be FinCom meetings. Wednesday or Friday are going to be your open days to get a lot of people here.
Okay.
Nobody's going to go on a date night number 1 Friday.
Friday's the wrong night.
Yeah, Fridays.
Yes, I was not seriously supposing that a Friday night meetings, especially regularly scheduled, is a great idea.
Right, thank you. All right, so do we want to pick a day in January? You know, a Wednesday in January, like possibly, I think it's the 13th. Is that I think the 13th is a Wednesday night in January, and kind of anticipate, you know, the applicant will have their plans, potential set of plans ready by then. Is that something we want to shoot for, guys, ladies and gentlemen?
Yep. Kent, what do you think?
Yep, that's fine.
Pick a date.
All right.
13th.
You want to make the 13th a tentative date? That's fine.
Sure, we'll shoot for that.
January 18th is a Monday night.
No, January 13th, Dick.
Oh, 13th.
Yeah.
2021.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, Dick said January 13th sounds good.
Okay. All right, so let's set that up, Tamika. You know, for the 13th, 6 p.m.
Sure.
Thing, all right. And, you know, Peter, Kent, if something comes up and you guys need a little more time, again, we can, you know, we'll work with you. We'll try to push it back a week or two, whatever you need. Just keep us,
very good.
try to give us a little, like I said before, just try to give us a little, you know, a little barometer before the holiday, you know, a couple weeks out or so before, so we can make sure we got things set up. And so things take a little more time with these Zooms and whatnot, you know.
Okay, sounds fair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, so if there's any other further discussion or anything else regarding this, do we have a motion to close this section of the hearing?
I'll make a motion to close.
We don't have to make a motion because technically it wasn't a hearing, it was just a meeting. So then the next time we make a motion will just be to adjourn. But we do still have September 17th minutes.
Thank you, Tamika, once again, keeping us on the straight and narrow. All right, so guys, if you don't have anything else, it was a real pleasure meeting all of you. You know, again, I know the excitement from the select board all the way down through the town departments. Everybody's excited about this project, this town. Mike Sullivan and a few other people in town I've been working on this for literally, almost decades, it seems, and might be longer. But, so this has been a long time coming for the town. I think everybody's excited to see some activity up there. And, guys, for everybody in the town and yourselves, activity breeds activity. And sometimes when things get hot, they can really get going good. So you can start something, not just your project, but a lot more for the town of Rutland. So like I said before, we're looking forward to working with you folks. And so far, you guys seem like a good group of people to work with, and that makes it a lot easier.
Same here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, everybody.
Thank you,
Have a
guys.
good holiday.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
You too.
Yes. Thank you.
Nice to see you all, folks.
Yeah, you too.
Have a
Take
Merry
care.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you,
Catch you guys.
Tamika.
No problem.
Okay.
I just looked, Tamika. I see where you've got that meeting posted already.
I'm not that good.
Good night.
Bye, Mike.
All right, so 7:07, we'll close the Harbor Classic introduction pre-app. And at this time, we'll just take up the meeting minutes from September 17th. And you guys want to vote on those?
Yes, please.
Anybody have any comments, any changes, anything to make?
One possible change, this is Jim, at the top it says a virtual meeting. I think it was many of us were there in person. But maybe the definition is if the presentation was virtual.
Jim, we have to say virtual just because the public is not allowed to attend in person. So
Okay.
even though you guys were there, we have to say that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm all set.
Any other comments? Go ahead, Michelle.
I'm just asking Dick if he's all set with the September 13th minutes, Dick.
September 17th,
17th, sorry, yes.
I'm all set with it. I'll
Okay.
make a motion to endorse, to approve the minutes of September 17th.
All right, thanks, Dick. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Michelle. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Michelle?
Jim, aye.
Chris, aye.
Dick Williams, aye.
Doug?
No, I wasn't there.
Okay, thank you.
Doug, I thought you were there.
You were there.
Was I there?
Yeah, you were there, Doug.
Oh, the hell, I'm for it.
All right. Any nays? All right. The minutes will pass as is. Thank you very much, guys. We can close that out. Any other new business to discuss?
I move we adjourn.
Let's do adjourn.
Doug moved, I think Dick is seconding.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays?
Bye-bye.
Any nays? All right, meeting is adjourned.